Good evening. Welcome to Captive Audience. I'm Suni Danforth. Thank you for joining me on this Friday evening at 6 o'clock. I'm come from Northeast Oregon. I'll tell you right now, and today is the first day of summer. Today is the first day of summer, and yet here we are. It's 65 degrees. It's windy, about 20 miles an hour wind out of the northeast here in Umatilla County. And it's snowing up at Mount Hood. I was just looking on my phone and saw that a post on social media that it is snowing at Mount Hood. And it's actually supposed to be getting some snow in over in Idaho, up in the northern area. So we're having some cooler weather over here, despite a lot of the rest of the United States is having this crazy heat wave on the first day of summer and for the next few days. Well, we're going to dive right in. If you haven't seen it, it is crazy. Hey, Lori, happy Friday. I just posted an article from the Western Journal about our Oregon state legislators, the Oregon House of Representatives, to be specific, had on Wednesday, they had kicked off their session with this drag show on the House floor. And then they passed a black drag resolution. I don't care about the color, frankly. But what I do care about is a drag show on the Oregon House floor. That is not okay at all. You know, I feel like it was very disrespectful and in poor taste. If you want to have a drag show, go do that on your own time, in your own dime. And this is nothing that is family friendly at all. But you know, the Democrats in Oregon, the Democrat legislators in Oregon don't really care about the voters of Oregon. They go, ha, we got the supermajority in the House and the Senate, and we have the governorship, and basically giving a big middle finger to anybody else. That's the way I see this. And I'll tell you, it's awful. Some say it's Pride Month. I don't think so. I have pride in our American flag. But beyond that, certainly drag queens are not top in my list. And I think most of America, they're not the top of their list either. But the Oregon representatives thought that was a good deal. And yes, they're in control. They can do the raunchy things that they would like to do. But I'll tell you, it turns off a lot of people. And so, hey, keep it up. The Democrat Party is failing so bad. They are broke. It's amazing how the USAID money has, been trimmed and turned off. And now the Democrat Party says, oh my gosh, we're broke. They might even have to borrow money to finish the end of the year. So keep it up. Your money is drying up. But I just wanted to, I guess I just had to get that off my chest. I had to do a little bit of a rant on that. It was so disgusting and not, yeah, Laura, you have to have self-respect in order to understand disrespect. And this is in such poor taste. But what I also found, and I mentioned this on Wednesday, 2 Republicans voted to pass this resolution. One of them, Kevin Mannix. And I will tell you, I have not voted because I'm not in his district. I have had a lot of respect for Kevin Mannix. I have zero. I have donated to help him get elected to be a legislator. Never again. And it's sad that I say that. I know Kevin has been around. Kevin Mannix has been around the Republican Party for a long time, and I don't have anything. He's written. I can't see what he's written. I don't know where to find it, but he's written an explanation of why he voted. Let me tell you, if you have to write an explanation for why you vote, you did the wrong thing and you know it. Okay, Lori, I see that. Same hair done. Yeah, I'm done. And I'm actually a person that I support good candidates. And you know what? Sometimes you pick losers. I guess I picked a loser there because he voted for that. And that was in such poor taste. Disgusting. All right, rant is over. I wanted to start there. And, I don't know who the other Republican was that voted with that. And I don't care, but they need to be primary, just like Kevin Mannix does. Get him the hell and gone. Well, we've got this gigantic House Bill 2025 that is the gigantic bill, the biggest damn tax bill in Oregon, quite frankly. They call it the transportation bill. And its price tag is estimated at $15.5 billion over 10 years. This is the largest if passed, and I think it will, especially when in the Senate committee, so the Senate president, he boots a senator off the transportation committee because that senator, so let me get the names here. Senate President Rob Wagner exercised his power of his office this afternoon in a fraught moment for the legislative session signature policy bill. He booted Senator Mark Meek, a Democrat out of Gladstone, off the Joint Committee on Transportation Reinvestment and claimed Meek's seat for himself. He goes, I will fill the seat. And why did he boot Meek? Because Meek expressed opposition to House Bill 2025. And what that tells me is the Democrats are going to pass this come hell or high water. They will boot another Democrat off. This is how the Democrats do. Really, they do. Right now, they have invalidated in the Democrat National Committee, have invalidated the vice chair of the Democrat National Committee, David Hogg. They've invalidated his election, and they're going to hold another election because some Democrats are going, we got to get and connect with the people, and this guy's pretty radical. So that's what they do, much like they Biden and they planted Harris. That didn't work out very well for them, worked great for us. But look at the billions of dollars that she burned through. So the Democrats are really burning down, and they're burning down their party. This plays good fodder for the Republicans, them doing this. And so Senate President Rob Wagner, that's what he did. He's out of Lake Oswego. And there's 12 members on this joint committee, and they need to pass it out of committee to get to a floor vote. They don't know if they have the yes votes on the floor. And Meek said he is totally frustrated at the highest level. And he said, and you can expect a no vote out of me right now. So let's see. The Democrats are eating their own in Oregon, but Senate President Rob Wagner has his marching orders from the governor. Get it done at any cost. I don't care. So he's towing the line. That's really what that is. The people, they don't care about the people of Oregon, the Democrats, the Democrat legislators, and the Democrats that vote for them. do not care. They haven't suffered enough, apparently. And actually, this bill, I saw a post by Oregon Leader. And so then I see this article that is in Oregon Catalyst that gives these statistics, and I wanted to use that. So I'm going to post this from the Oregon Catalyst, this article that also talks about the transportation bill. And what it gives you is that the Democrats, it's the largest tax increase in Oregon history, is what the Democrats are pushing. And so in 2017, their House Bill 2017, it raised it was estimated to raise $5.3 billion. Okay. And the 2021 bill projected to raise taxes $12 billion. And now you have, that was House Bill 3427. That was in 2021. And now here we are in 2025, looking at $15.5 billion over 10. All three of those are over 10 years. So you've got, let's see, 5 and 12 is 17, and another 15.5 is $33 billion over 10 years, if this passes, of what has been put on the backs. And one of them was the cat tax. That was in 2021, the cat tax, corporate activity tax. We all pay for it. You see on a receipt, it's the cat tax is added on there. So that's a lot of taxes, and 30 billion over 10 years, that's 10 billion. Well, let's see. What is that? That's 3 billion a year in extra taxes. 3 billion a year. And that's a lot of money on the backs of the people that businesses are leaving, businesses shuttered. Coming out of COVID, the middle class across America was destroyed. But here in Oregon, so many businesses, people are working 2 and 3 jobs. And the Democrats don't care. We don't have an income problem here in Florida, in Oregon. We have a spending problem, and it's what they choose to spend it on is a big problem. Absolutely. Another bill is, this one is interesting. Government control over Oregon media, Senate Bill 686. I hadn't heard about this, but I got this from Oregon Catalyst. And of course, if this passes, I'm going to post a link to that one here as well. If this one passes, it will mean that the governor gets to appoint a committee. It's basically, the bill will establish a nonprofit corporation, the Oregon Civic Information Consortium. And the purpose of the consortium is to support Oregon news content providers, journalism, news, public information projects, public interest initiatives that address Oregonian civic information needs by providing grants. So let's see. And I would just about bet this board that is going to be appointed by the governor of Oregon, which is a Democrat, quite the commie Democrat, I'll add, then I believe that it would also be censorship. And who's going to get the money? It's going to be those that toe the line of whatever message the governor wants in this state. And I believe it could very well have a censorship aspect to it. I hope it dies in committee. I hope it doesn't pass. But that would be something else that they spend money on, right? If all this, Senate bill, House Bill 2025 passes, something else for that one. Not good. I think that would be a lot of censorship. Well, there's a lot of talk right now because of Trump saying, we're going to sell off millions of acres of public land. So this article is out of Coin. So, and it says that Senator Jeff Merkley says, I'm going to fight like hell. We're not going to sell Oregon land. And so many people are saying, oh, that means we're going to sell off our parks and our that. No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean anything like that. But what President Trump is trying to do is to not cost us so much money. He's trying to trim the government. But what I find in this article, something I find offensive. I'm offended by it because in this article, it states that, let me find it here. Let me find it. BLM owns about 245 million acres of public land. You know what? BLM is an agency. It doesn't own shit. It manages. It does not own. And this article says BLM owns about 245 million acres of public land. And it also says the Forest Service owns 193 million acres. It doesn't own anything. It's an agency that oversees. It manages. Both of those are agencies that oversee our property. It's the American people's property. They don't own anything. And so proponents of selling the land are arguing it could help the U.S. close its housing supply gap of around 4 million residents and another 7 million affordable homes. Some are saying, oh, it's going to be for the ultra rich and wealthy. I don't know about that. And we'll see. This is written by Coin, which is, kind of left leaning. So I don't expect them to write anything good. They're saying, read that as housing for billionaires, not nurses and firemen. That's what Wyden said, actually. So we'll see what happens. Frankly, I trust what Trump wants to do. I am a Trump supporter, and I trust what he wants to do, and I don't have a problem. Now, when it comes to selling land here in Oregon, we have some special land use laws, although state agencies don't abide by them, like FSEC. You've heard me talk about that before. But state agencies don't abide by them. Just because you're selling some public lands in the state of Oregon doesn't mean it's going to turn into housing. In Washington, it could definitely happen because you can build just about anything you want anywhere in Washington. That's why Washington doesn't have the vast tracts of land that Oregon does, because Oregon specifically wanted to protect farmland and our forests because they used to be cut. It used to be a very strong timber industry here in Oregon, and unfortunately, the lobbyists and environmentalists have really shut that down. It's so sad for Oregon. So many jobs have lost. And yet the timber continues to grow. They would rather burn it up than harvest it, ethically harvest it, I might add, and provide timber for America to build these houses. So sadly, Oregon wants to burn it all up, and we've got fires happening right now. So when it comes to Oregon going, oh, we're going to, millions of acres of Oregon land could be sold under this federal proposal, I don't see that it's going to go towards housing. And we're going to have to learn more how this thing's going to play out. We'll see. And of course, it's not every state because the federal government does not own public land, like BLM managed lands and Forest Service managed lands in most of the United States. It's only the western states that have it. If you didn't know, that's why. It's not every state, it's the western states. So it's Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Idaho, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, Utah, Washington, and Wyoming. Those are the states that have public land. The BLM doesn't own it. The Forest Service doesn't own it. We own it. Oh, Lori, let me read what you said here. Well, I don't care for that statement at all. I still feel that's a nice word salad. Kevin Mannix, I will tell you, he speaks very well, but I don't buy it. That was so inappropriate for a drag performance to be on the House floor. And then you supported that. We don't vote for the strippers and the strip clubs, right? Well, maybe they'll be doing that next. Stay tuned. You never know what might come from the Democrats. If you want to go participate, you go right ahead, but you don't have to force it down the rest of our throats. We don't have to have it. Too bad, Kevin. You lost a supporter, and I'm sure you lost some others as well. Your statement means nothing. So we're going to have to see how that plays out on this land, and what Trump is proposing. Well, the feds are demanding Oregon Health Plan data in a crackdown against immigrant coverage, because don't you know, Oregon is the sanctuary state for everything. We have birthing tourism, we have trans tourism, we have healthcare tourism, because we're going to pay for healthcare for anybody that doesn't have any money, and it's on the backs of Oregonians. But you see, when it comes to Medicaid, that's federal money. So the feds can tell, and the Oregon Health Plan is Medicaid, and it is funded by federal money. So for the feds to demand the Oregon Health Plan data in order to crack down against immigrant coverage, they have every right to it. We'll see how this comes out. We have such liberal laws here. It's going to have to go to a higher court because they're going to sue and all of that. And they're asking for similar data from California, Illinois, Washington State, and Washington, D.C. And the feds have every right to make sure that illegals are not giving that. If Oregon wants to pay for it, Oregon can pay for the illegals getting medical coverage, but they cannot force the feds to pay for it at all. So I think it's great that they're asking for this. Let's clean this up. They have the state of Oregon has until the end of July 2025 to comply. And so we'll see. We'll see. It's going to have to go through some courts. I just about guarantee it. Because recall, in the beginning of 2025, as soon as Trump won the election, Oregon set aside, what was it, $30 million to fight everything and anything that Trump would put together. So here we are. They're going to waste our tax money, which is why they need this $15.5 billion, right? They're going to pass it come hell or high water because they're going to fight the Republicans at any way they can. And in fact, that led me to think about that new if they pass that committee that I spoke of earlier, an NGO, let's see, the NGO, are they going to be passing money to the local Democrats in Oregon? Since a lot of the NGOs, their money's dried up from USAID, I might be onto something. We have to follow where the money goes. Have to follow where the money goes. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, Lori, it's going to be interesting to see about this whole selling the public lands. And he does play chess. It's going to be interesting. Hey, here is an interesting story that I'm still keeping it in Oregon for now. I have a couple for national, but the Oregon, this is an article from Coin. This does not have to do with politics. Surprise, surprise. And but what it does have to do is with forensics. And so the Oregon Appeals Court finds that gun forensics method is not scientifically valid. And when that headline piqued my interest. So I read this story here from Coin, and it says major changes could be coming to the way shootings are prosecuted in Oregon after a recent state appeals court ruling. So there is a case that centers around, of course, forensic evidence, right? And so what it is about the grooves and the lands when they're looking at a bullet and that they're saying the practice of matching the markings, on bullets to specific guns. So under the AFTE method, the Association of Firearm and Tool Mark Examiners. And so the Oregon court has said that it's not scientifically done. It's like a person's opinion. And the method has been used for decades. Some critics argue that it is not based on measurable science. So now the Oregon Court of Appeals agrees, overturning a case that relied on the method. So in a May 29th decision, the appeals court found the state did not prove the method is scientifically invalid. This is like, so reading it, you go, really? It isn't. But yet, is it? So the plaintiff, Odell Tony Adams, was appealing convictions for unlawful use of a weapon with a firearm and second-degree criminal mischief, and basically said, where's the science in here? And the case stems from at a 2018 shooting at the Speakeasy Lounge. At the scene, police found several .40 caliber shell cases on the ground, along with bullet holes in 2 cars in the nightclub's parking lot. Police later obtained a warrant to search Adams' home, where officers seized a Taurus handgun. And while prepping the state case against Adams, a forensics examiner used the AFTE method to analyze the gun and the cartridge cases found at the scene. The examiner determined the gun seized in the home fired 10 cases found at the scene. And another AFTE examiner analyzed the gun and agreed with the original findings. So, but court documents from the appeals court describe scientific evidence in part as evidence that draws its convincing force from some principle of science, mathematics, and the like. So I watch things like, I don't know, Forensic Files, right? And And so you see they shoot the gun into some water and they pull it out, and they analyze then those, because all the barrels make, every gun makes different markings, they say, and then they measure them looking at a real high powered microscope and see if things line up. Well, apparently the court says the state, court documents from the appeals court describe scientific evidence and whatnot. The court explained the state did not meet its burden to show that the AFTE method is scientifically valid. That is, that it's capable of measuring what it purports to measure and is able to produce consistent results when replicated. Well, that's interesting. So the court continued, that is so because the methods do not actually measure the degree of correspondence between shell cases or bullets, rather the practitioner's decision on whether the degree of, if they match or not. It's so that decision depends entirely on subjective, unarticulated standards and criteria arrived at through the training and individualized experience of the practitioner. Well, that's interesting. Well, that's going to throw like a whole wrench in forensics regarding guns and bullets and cases. Stay tuned. I thought this was interesting. And we're going to have to see what happens with that. Kind of, let's see. Is this the same science that says a man can have a baby? Oh my gosh, it might be. And we all know that can't happen. Men don't have uteruses. Nope, not having one unless you have one of those. That's the way it works. That's real science. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. That one piqued my interest, so I just thought I'd share that with you. Well, now this next story is from KPTV. The Portland Major League Baseball Stadium funding bill passes the Oregon House, and it heads to Governor Kotek's desk to sign. Now, when I saw this, and this is an older story, but when you think about that story is from June 17th, Tuesday. Let's see. We've just had more riots at the federal building about ICE and all of that. So, and Portland is like a shithole, It has, excuse me, but it is. You've got the homeless, you've got the druggies, and you've got in Portland specifically, in my opinion, a screwed up city council that is now, their budget is so ridiculous, and what they're doing. You have crime, so much more crime, and yet you want to build a major league baseball stadium? And I thought, what for? What for? Is this we can stop the crime, because you know what? They can. They can stop it at any time. So if maybe real estate prices have come down so much, and so many people have left, that real estate is in the tank. Oh, now it's affordable. Let's do it now. And are the people going to go? I don't know. But that's where my mind went. I invest in real estate, and I wouldn't touch anything in Portland because of the politics, because they don't care. You have squatters in the state of Oregon that have the right to come into your house. You go on vacation and they move into your house and you can't get them out. You can't get them out at all. And it's going to take you a year. It might cost you $10,000, and your house could absolutely be trashed. Your house, your apartment, whatever. Absolutely trashed. And you have no recourse. Is that what you want? coming into Portland, no thanks. No thanks. So I thought that, that is just like, and 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 I think of this because in the very beginning of Captive Audience, Jeff Reynolds, David Darnell, and I talked about is this whole shutdown and like what's going on in Portland and allowing the riots to all happen. Is this to bring prices of real estate down? I don't know. But real estate's down. The price of real estate down over there on the west side is definitely down. And especially commercial property. Maybe not residential, but I will tell you, commercial property is in the tank. It is who wants to rent and have a business there? Mm-mm. So anyway, just some thoughts because we do cover. Yes, we have. Thank you, Lori. I hope you like these topics tonight. But these are food for thought because things don't happen just. It's not always organic. Much like how Antifa shows up outside the riots that have been happening around the United States, all in blue cities, by the way, and Democrat-run cities, Democrat-run states. Might be not be a Democrat-run state, but probably is. They're not organic. They're very organized, and it is to make people think, be disillusioned, and make people think that everywhere's like this. And believe me, everywhere's not like this at all. Not at all. It's a small group of people that are being paid to cause the mayhem. So I don't know about this stadium. Maybe. We'll see. Well, Trump has called for a special prosecutor to investigate the 2020 election. And because it has been revealed that the FBI has found documents, surprise, surprise, that the Biden administration was very much working against, they were working against Trump. And Trump said, and I quote, Biden was grossly incompetent and the 2020 election was a total fraud. And I 100% agree with that. We had a lot of cheating. And people say, I heard somebody say today, oh, but the courts never, it's all been through the courts. No, the courts shut it down. The liberal judges said, oh, you don't have standing. Well, let me tell you, when you have a presidential election, every citizen that voted in the United States has standing in a court case. Every single one, because it affected us all. So any cheating that went on in any state, like Arizona, like Oregon. And so part of this coming around is the FBI, Trump reports from the FBI that China had conspired to mass produce fake driver's licenses to carry out a massive fake ballot scheme in the 2020 election. And I don't know if you all remember, but I remember the fellow who drove the semi loaded with ballots, and delivered them to multiple states. And then he was told to leave the semi here and the tractor trailer here. And he went back the next day and it was gone. And normally he talked about how normally when you make a drop, they're going to sign your ticket. Nobody would give him a ticket. It's like, nope, it never happened. We don't believe you. I remember all of that. And so this is a big deal. And truthfully, we have to, as a nation, We have to get to the bottom of that and the bottom of the faux presidency of Biden and the auto pen, because as a nation, this can never happen again. There must be consequences for what happened, not just investigations that go nowhere, but actual convictions and consequences, justice to the citizens of the United States, um, that this will never happen again in our country. So I'm all for it. I'm all for a special prosecutor. And so, here we go. China having 20,000 fake driver's licenses in July of 2020. So these people could then go register to vote. And, you had, what was it, about 18 million more people vote in the United States in 2020 than we had in 2024. They did not evaporate. That was fraud. Fraud in several states. Georgia was one, Arizona. I can't think of the others. And so, anyway, I think it's good. Well, a surprise, surprise, Pakistan has nominated Trump for 2026 Nobel Peace Prize. And I went, really? And the reason they've done that is because he helped broker peace between Pakistan and India. And so the government of Pakistan today recommended President Trump for the 2026 Nobel Peace Prize for his role in de-escalating a brief conflict between India and Pakistan earlier this year. I love it. And this is not the only one. He also has his administration earlier this year intervened to stop a conflict between Islamabad and New Delhi in its early stages after a terrorist attack in the Kashmir region led India to attack its Islamic neighbor. And I was reading about one in Africa, the continent of Africa, today, and it was between the Congo and I don't remember what another country there. And so Trump's administration is all about peace. And so I think this is wonderful. Do I think he'll get it? No. But I think it's wonderful. Coming out of Pakistan. Surprise, surprise. You just never know. We just never know where that might come from. But I do know that Trump, he wants peace. And we're going to have to see what happens between Israel and Iran and see how that plays out. Trump said within 2 weeks, he will make a decision. But interestingly, a 5.1 earthquake happened right near, what's it called? Fordow in Iran. I saw a speculation. Did they detonate a nuclear bomb underground to test it? I don't know. Then I have a couple other things. If you did not know, this is from social media, but apparently 16 billion passwords from Apple, Google, Facebook, and other apps have been leaked, resulting in the largest hack in history. And all of my news sources, nobody had an article on that. So this is from Congresswoman Kat Kamak. She posted it to Facebook, and I saw that. And so we all need to change our passwords and make sure that you have two-factor authentication on. Your privacy and security depend on it. So there is a public service announcement about the passwords from Apple, Google, Facebook, and other apps are all leaked. And then another very quick one is that, this Vance Bolter who shot the people, the Congress people, the assassinations in Minnesota. Well, he has written a letter, a statement, and he blames Governor Tim Walz. He says he was told to murder these people by Governor Tim Walz, the former vice president candidate, the failed former vice president candidate. The guy's an idiot. And that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion. So interesting how that is going to play out with this. He blames Tim Walz. Like, hey, somebody told me to do it. Well, let me tell you, Tim Walz and these other people that are calling for violence and saying things, they have to be held accountable. Hey, everybody, have a great weekend. We still live, despite the problems here in Oregon, we still live in the best country in the world. We truly do. Don't forget that. It's not all doom and gloom. It's pretty bad here in Oregon, but it is not all doom and gloom. We've got the best president in my lifetime. And, we have so much to be thankful for in our country. Things are turning around in our country. And so go outside, turn off your phone, go get some sunshine or go enjoy the snow because summer's coming and it's snowing up on Mount Hood right now. And, there's so much that we have to be thankful for. So while I covered a lot of negative things tonight, it is not to bring you down. It is to bring awareness. That's what it is, because the more that we know, the more that we understand, the better off we are as people. You can make informed choices. So good night, everybody. Have a super great weekend. Get out and have fun. I'm going to be cleaning out our RV trailer. Yep, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm cleaning it out because we are selling it. There you are. Now you know what I'll be doing. I will be outside. And I think enjoying that.